My name is Laurie Sherman. We are coming to you live from the KC Metaphysical Summer Fair 2017. I've never done Facebook Live, so I'm warning you in advance. This is probably going to be the weirdest experience for you as it is for me. We also have a room full of people. Everybody say hi.
Hi.
There we go.
Feel free to comment on Facebook Live too.
Okay, so today's workshop is called the Downlow on Divination. I am not going to talk about any one specific form of divination. I'm not going to talk about tarot or pendulums or anything of that nature. We're going to talk about divination itself. Okay? I know y'all are excited about that. Okay, so first, what is divination? Divination is a metaphysical means of gathering information. It's basically, in a nutshell, what it is. You are pulling energy from... Okay, it's not me going through your wallet or going through your Facebook. I'm pulling energy from you. I'm pulling energy from the universe. I'm pulling the energy from a cosmic pattern. And I'm looking at that to give you information. Okay, clear as mud so far? Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's where the wheels come off. And mind you, when I was putting this together, my brain started going to like quantum mechanics and stuff, and then I had like a small aneurysm. I had to stop it. So, one of the things that people don't understand is that divination takes place. Come on, brand new marker. Mark. Thank you. Divination takes place in a bubble. It takes into account everything that happens all the way up to that point where you are getting a reading. So every action you've taken, all the energy you have put out, all the energy you have taken in, all the energy you've come in contact with is taken into account the moment you are getting the reading. Okay? With me so far?
He may not be with you.
Do you have a question?
Your question?
Are you with me? Okay, when you sit down, I'm going to make it real simple for you. When you sit down to get a reading.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. When you sit down to get a reading, it's sort of kind of like time stops. Divination is sort of a wibbly, wobbly, timey-wimey kind of thing. Follow me on that?
Yes.
There we go. Thought you might. Okay. All of this takes place in the bubble. You get your reading in this bubble. Okay? And the reason is that, again, divination gathers energy. And it gathers energy of the pattern of behavior and the energy that you've gathered from all of this. And then that energy comes in here, and then the reader does their reading. They give you information on the past, on the present. They give you information on the future. Now, that information on the future, that prophecy, so to speak, comes about based on that pattern. So, fun time here. If your life stays exactly the same from it was up to the point of that reading, odds are really, and I'm not talking like you decided to change your hairstyle or something. Okay, I'm talking big changes. So if you go about your life and do the same exact thing, you go to the same job every day, you're married to the same person, you do the same thing. Tori keeps pointing at Sylvia, all fun and stuff, but she does that all the time. So whatever her reading is, it's going to be based on that pattern. Okay? So this predictive information would probably be reasonably correct because it's based on a pattern of behavior. Follow me so far? Sweet. This sounded way more complicated in my head, I swear it did. A lot of things sound complicated. Okay. But there's a couple things that happen. The first thing that happens is what I call the observational effect. I tell you something unpleasant. I do a reading for Tori. And I say, Tori's going to go to the store on Tuesday and she's gonna drop an ice cream cone on her foot. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. My prediction is that Tori's going to go to the store on Tuesday, and she's going to be walking with an ice cream cone, and it's going to fall on her foot. And she's going to have flip-flops on, so it's going to be really gross. Ice cream in your toes.
I was trying not to do that.
Exactly. That is exactly what I'm talking about. If I tell you something unpleasant in a reading, you're going to get hit by a crosstown bus on Wednesday. You're going to back out of the driveway on Thursday and run into the mailman. Literally, run into the mailman.
Oh.
You're going to start thinking about that stuff. So Monday's rolling around. Tuesday morning's rolling around.
I hope I don't drop an ice
And
cream on
Rhonda's
my
like,
foot.
hey, let's go to the store, Tori. And Tori's like, wait a minute. It's Tuesday, right? I don't think I want to go to the store on Tuesday. Can we go tomorrow? Because I really want an ice cream cone. I don't want to get rid of that part of things. I want that ice cream cone, but I don't want it on my foot. So maybe if she changes the situation from Tuesday to Wednesday, just that change right there changes the prophecy. Oh. Y'all think we're super woo, but we're really not. Okay. So, the first thing that can block a prophecy is simply a change in behavior. Super big thing. And again, keep in mind that just because a reader sits there and tells you something happened doesn't mean that you don't have free will. It's not locked in stone. There isn't somebody that's going to knock on your door at 2:22 on Friday and say, okay, listen here, Leanne. Okay, we had this prophecy going. You must go here right now. They're grabbing your coat and your shoes and your hat, and they're shoving you into a car. Okay, that's not how the universe actually works. Okay, so any questions so far? Tori,
I'm kind of not with you.
you're not with me here?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's your reading, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got a reading. And all the way up until this, you're just doing normal stuff. You're coloring, you're having fun, you're having a great time, right? Okay. So this part, which is the predictive part, it's what happens next. And if you remember with a pattern, if this is my pattern, then my next thing would be that, right? Okay.
Just say yes.
So that's basically what the predictive is. The predictive part, the part that's telling me what's going to happen next in the future, is based on all this stuff right here. Okay?
I know, for example, if somebody makes a comment at you or singles you out for something, you're going to giggle because you do that automatically. You giggle.
But if somebody tells you, I know that when I say so-and-so to you, you're going to giggle.
You don't giggle.
You're going to be aware of that and probably not giggle, or at least try not to.
And that's the change in behavior.
See? So you
Got
changed
it?
what you did.
Now I'm with you. Now I'm with you.
Okay, good deal. All right, so the next thing that can happen is the subliminal effect. That's really terrible. The subliminal effect is when I tell you something that you hadn't really been thinking of, and this happens sometimes. You're in a relationship, and you feel like that relationship is a good relationship. It's a solid relationship. There's happy things, there's flowers, there's chocolate. It's a good time had by all. But then you come and you get a reading from me, and I'm evil and hateful, and I do evil, hateful things. And I tell you that your significant other is keeping something from you. They're keeping something from you. The Seven of Swords comes up. I call the Seven of Swords the Who Moved My Cheese card, because it's really that kind of situation. You have something in your head, it's like, man, I'm missing something. There's nothing not quite right. You know, somebody broke into your house and stole everything you own and then replaced it with perfect replicas. That's going to eat you up a little bit. But I tell you, this card comes up and I tell you there's a situation you're not aware of. Your spouse, your partner, your whatever is not telling you something. Okay? So you go home and you sit there. And I said, you know, your relationship's good to this point, but there's something you're not being told. There's kind of a problem coming down the road. There's a problem coming down the road. And you're sitting there and you're like, why are they not telling me? And then you start thinking crazy things, because that's what people do when you tell them that there's stuff they don't know. They start thinking crazy things. You know, are they hiding a water buffalo in the closet? You go and you look and see if there's a water buffalo in the closet, because somewhere in the back of your mind, suddenly there's a crazy water buffalo in that closet. I planted that information in your head. I sat there and I told you, and it may not be big. It may be they got a speeding ticket. It may be they ate the last piece of cheesecake, which is a punishable offense, I will say. But it's not a doom and gloom relationship breaker. It's just a tiny piece of information. But I put that in the back of your head, that they're keeping something from you. And then I said, there's going to be a problem down the road. Yeah, there's going to be a problem down the road because I just told you they're keeping something from you. Where you may not have a problem to begin with. You might have been going along just happy and fine in this pattern of things. Happy, shiny, fun, cheesecake eating, good times. And then I put a bit of a roadblock in there. By telling you something. Divination is fun like that.
Now, had you said something like, they're keeping something from you, but not seeing a problem, but just said they're keeping something from you,
Right.
it could be a surprise birthday party.
But then if I drew like 3 more cards and it told me that it's a problem,
Ah, okay.
but the problem may not have been there to begin with. You know, people keep things from people all the time. You know, it's part of being a human being. You don't tell your significant other every little detail. You know, I lost a sock. Oh, the world has come to an end. I was a striped sock. I feel really upset. But that's the thing is, we keep little things from each other all the time. It's not a deal breaker. But because I made it sound significant, and I planted it in your shiny little head, that created a situation. As a reader, one of the fun things I get is that I will see somebody for one event, whether I'm reading at a bar or the fair or wherever, and they'll get a reading from me and I'll tell them, hey, you know, you're going to meet this person, because a lot of people are looking for people apparently. You're going to meet this person. They're going to be like the love of your life. They're going to be the greatest person ever. You're going to meet them in a couple of weeks at this thing that you're going to. And it never fails, because people are wonderful this way. They turn around and they come back, and I see them later on. I see them after this supposed event was going to happen. And one of the things that I hear is, well, I didn't meet Mr. Wonderful. I didn't meet my person. You told me I was going to meet somebody in September, and I didn't meet them. And here we are, it's November. And it's like, okay, well, didn't you go to that event you were supposed to go to in September? Well, no, I canceled at the last minute. They made a big deal. They were like, oh my God, I didn't meet that person. And I'm like, well.
You were supposed to meet him at that thing.
Exactly.
You didn't go to the thing.
Again, change in behavior. Time. I know, it's just all going away. They didn't bring an eraser, so.
I wouldn't lick your hands. That
I
stuff
would
could
lick my
poison.
hand either.
That
Ew.
stuff
Here.
could poison you.
I got it. It's dry erase, so it just floats
Okay,
off.
well, if you need that. that's
Thank you,
fine.
ma'am. People have this idea of time as a linear thing, okay? I promise I'm not going to go too crazy into quantum mechanics and Niels Bohr and something about cats. Everybody sees time as a linear thing. And time to us as a linear thing is marked by events. Birth of a child, promotion at work, new house, etc., etc. This is how we mark time. Time is marked by events. We don't remember things as 27 hours, 32 minutes, and 9 seconds. We remember things as the fair opened, or we remember things as a child was born, or remember things as we had a car accident, we had a death, we had a thing. All of that is on our linear timeline. Okay? Divination doesn't exactly work that way because we are constantly making choices and changes. Sometimes divination can catch the pattern if it's not too far off what you usually do. Again, you're going to work every day and all that other stuff. But the moment you make a significant change, and when I say significant change, I'm not talking changing your hairstyle. I'm talking like not going to an event. I'm talking having a car accident. I'm talking big stuff like that. Okay? Those change the pattern. Any questions? Because I flew through that really fast.
You got about 15 minutes.
About 15 more minutes. I'm going to open it up for questions. And mind you, when people use tools for divination, that's what it really is. It's how they pull that energy. So whether it's tarot cards or pendulums or whatnot, junk drawer stuff out of your junk drawer, you can do divination with that, by the way. It's a lot of fun. That's what they're doing. They're still pulling out that energy and they're still looking at that pattern. Wow, I explained it really well. I feel good for myself. Go for it.
How do you use things out of your junk drawer for divination?
Oh my God.
I mean, that's...
Use the paper.
That's my interest. I have several
Here.
of them.
Napkin,
Napkin.
right
Oh.
there.
You don't like me using my finger?
It's so you're talking to.
She's like, oh my God.
There's a napkin, use it.
We can talk about different forms of divination.
That one just got my interest.
It is called a Tanto Mozi. It's called a panomancy. A panomancy is random objects. It is the stuff you find in the bottom of your purse. It is the stuff you find in your junk drawer. It's the stuff that guys, the 15,000 things guys carry in their pockets. I once went to a Christmas party and the contest was whoever had the most change in their pocket would win. And I think Gary won it because he had like 20 or 30 bucks worth of change in his pocket. I'm not even kidding, it was bizarre. But, so what happens is, you pull the stuff out, and let's say it's like a beer bottle cap and some other random stuff. Your mind is going to assign things to those symbols. And using those symbols, that's how you use divination. And you cast it like you would runes or bones or dice or anything of that nature. You toss the junk out onto a field, and a field is generally field is generally future, past,
Present.
this is like the present right here. And where that junk lays tells you whether it's about the past, it's about the future, it's about the present. It's a lot of fun, it really is, especially when you purposely go and collect junk. Because what you can also do is find your own junk, like old pieces of jewelry, little doodads that you find. Like I found one single die on the road once, and so I had to grab that, and that's in my animancy set.
I'm thinking I could get a massive reading every time I dump my purse out.
You really could. You really could, because it's just like casting. Everything, you know, think of a question.
That's interesting. Thank you. I'd never really thought of that.
Just dump it all.
Just dump it all out. So, like the stuff in the bottom drawer of your dresser that, you
let's
know,
not
is like
do
a
that
little
here.
weird thing. That kind of stuff. Lithomancy is stones. It's the same principle, just using stones.
There is actually somebody that does do stone readings downstairs.
Yeah, and
right next to
it's
you.
by Casey.
Mm-hmm. You get to keep him too.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. Questions?
Do you find some divination tools more accurate for time? I know time is a corkscrew or whatever, but then others.
Time is really tough.
I've heard Lenormand is much better for time than, say, Tarot.
Lenormand is more structured than Tarot, and so it does lend itself better to time. There was a deck, tarot cards, the Merry Day Tarot, that actually did a decent job of explaining time better than most decks. And what they did was they took the suits. Oops. Wands. Pentacles. And swords. They took the suits and they assigned times of the year. So this was fall. This was summer. This was winter. And this was spring, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, most pagan paths assign elements to each season. So you can follow along with tarot and just assign whatever element to whatever you feel comfortable with. And then you would basically go from like ace to 10. This being the latest part of the season, this being the earliest part of the season, and then just kind of gauge in there. So you can use tarot to give time based on seasons, but it's not as tight as Lenormands are. Lenormands are a lot tighter, and the reason being is because they're far more structured. Lenormands are probably the most structured form of cartomancy there is.
Sorry, what's Lenormand?
Lenormands are it's a 36 card deck. Came about through a woman named Madame Lenormand. She supposedly read for like Napoleon Bonaparte and that kind of things, and it was pictures, and it's really simple pictures. It's a house and a four-leaf clover and a rider and a snake and a man and a woman and
Dog, house, book, key, coffin, etc.
Right. So they're very specific images, and that image, the artwork may vary from deck to deck, but the image will be exactly the same. It will still be a house no matter what deck it's in. And each card has an absolute ascribed meaning to it, and then the card is read on a field in a certain way. So it's incredibly structured. The nice thing about Lenormand, if you are looking for an easy form of cartomancy to learn, it is kind of easy to learn because it is so structured. It's just a matter of memorizing and then working with it and getting comfortable with it. Whereas tarot isn't as structured, and oracle cards are like off the map.
Because they can be anything that particular author, designer wants it to be.
Right. Sort of, within reason. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
Lenormand,
No, I mean the oracle. I mean the oracle
Oh yeah,
decks.
the oracle deck. Because oracles are just like off. I can make a 50 card deck of I don't know
Cat
face
pictures.
print, cat pictures. Yeah, okay. Because my face pressed on a window. I can make 50 cards out of that and just say that each card means something different. And you're all like, I don't think so. How is that happiness? It's just not right. Cartomancy is really cool. Cartomancy is the general term for anything that uses basically a card. Everything from playing cards to Lenormands to kippers, which is kind of like a form of Lenormand. I don't know that much about kippers. It's kind
I think
of like
it's similar to Lenormand. There is somebody down there that does those as well.
Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah. She went through that whole.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, you have way more time than I thought you did, by the way. You have like 20 minutes. Sorry.
But everybody caught on really quick.
I know. That's okay.
We'll just keep talking about divination.
Yeah.
All right. Question in the back.
Can you read yourself? Or?
No.
Okay.
Here's the thing about reading
Well.
yourself. Some people can read themselves. I will say some people can do it. I can't. I am one of those people that sees the absolute worst in everything. So I pull a card and it's a happy card and I'm like, yeah, that's total bullshit. There's got to be something coming. And I'm pulling like 10 more cards until I get a really horrible card. I cannot read for myself. So what I usually do is if I need a reading, I will holler at somebody and say, hey, Kara, you want to swap readings? Kara does readings. She's good. I'll get a hold of a friend and we'll swap. I don't feel like reading for yourself. Some oracle decks you kind of can if you stick 100% to what the meaning of the card is from the author and like use zero intuition whatsoever. But I really don't feel like you can get an objective enough reading for yourself.
I think that's true if you're attempting to do predictive, like for what are your animal guides for the year? Okay, you can do that for yourself.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm
not.
Talking like,
you're talking predictive.
yeah, I'm talking predictive, which is usually what I would read for.
That's true. You're a lot more predictive reader than I am, though.
Everybody understand the difference? Okay, go ahead.
Well, back to the grid that you drew, future, past, present.
Uh-huh.
You didn't talk about left and
The
right.
left and right. Let's see if I can remember. Future, past, present. This side right here, this side here. The left side is usually obstacles or roadblocks. The right side is usually things that will help you. When something's hovering on the line, you would read it as both. When two items are touching, you would read them together because they would influence each other. So like two runes touching, two pieces of junk touching, whatever, you would read them together. Two objects in the same grid, you would kind of read them together as well, depending upon their proximity. Does that help?
And if they bounce off the grid, do you just completely omit?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just means that that's not part of the reading. And that's the reason why I use a grid. You can draw it on a piece of paper or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Is because it helps to give the information sort of a specific base. Like a tarot spread does the same thing. The tarot spread gives a context to the card itself. Yes,
So how
ma'am.
do you assign that context to junk out of your purse?
Okay. I don't have any junk in my purse.
Well, here, we'll name some junk you find in purse. Lipstick.
Lipstick can be how other people see us.
So you assign them
Yes.
prior to throwing them?
Yes.
And then, okay.
Yes. Or you can even do it on the fly. There are some
Okay.
things that are, a house key is basically like home and safety and security. Money is prosperity. There are some things that are really obvious. Little symbols, little animals, little charms, whatever. A cross can be spirituality or religion.
And then you assign places where they fall, so you have the actual
Yes.
spread, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
And again, this doesn't have to be found junk. This can be junk that you've just gathered. Everybody has broken jewelry and little pendants that we don't wear that have turned strange colors, and little rocks that we bought that we're not quite sure what the heck it is, and little doodads and whatnots.
That spread that you just did, those fields, that could be something like anything thrown, dice.
Anything cast.
So
Anything
runes,
cast can be used,
stones,
Yes.
junk.
Bones, junk, small children, whichever. Anything cast.
Okay, let's not say that when
So what if
when
the way you do it, do each of your objects have to be different and distinct from one another, or like?
It usually helps.
For example, like the Mayans would use corn kernels,
Right.
so they're all the same. Or what if like I have Altoids in my fridge, so
Theirs would be more along the lines of what patterns they see and where it would lay on a field
okay.
than the actual object itself. Let's say, and I could even see that more useful with a. Let's see if I remember. Well,
Yeah.
career. Okay, I can't remember all of them. There's something called a Bagua Grid. It's used in feng shui. It's used to situate the energies in your home, that kind of thing. But the grid basically has different squares, different aspects of your life. This is love and relationships. Actually, right now I'm trying to remember how my living room is laid out, so I kind of remember where everything is. I believe this was like children and creativity.
You look that up.
Alright, but basically what it is it's different aspects of your life. It's love and relationships, it's your health, it's your career, and your reputation. It is children and creativity. It is mentors and helpful people. And the center section is kind of a culmination of everything. That, if you had something that was all the same object, like corn kernels, I would do something along this lines. And then just like say that, you know, the overall pattern I'm looking at is I only have like one corn kernel in the wealth and prosperity thing and then a whole bunch elsewhere. I'm not looking at any new money. I'm maybe looking at saving my corn kernels.
And then can you overlay that grid with the other one that you did?
Yeah. Questions? So I'm having fun. This is good. Yeah, anything you can throw, you can read with.
So let's talk about like tarot decks. There's 1,000,000,001 different tarot decks.
Is that a question?
Do y'all read the same? Do they read the same?
No, they're not all the same.
With the other one going back to the regular field,
Uh-huh.
that middle column, yes. Would that just be like the generic thing?
Yes.
Like if you're doing the junk
Yes.
of the future.
Yeah, it's like a
Money.
it's like a 3-card,
Okay.
spread, past, present, future, and all that. There you go. Tarot decks. No, they are not all the same. I don't need that. 70% of tarot decks are based on the Rider-Waite system. The Rider-Waite system, the deck was published in 1910 by Arthur E. Waite. The artwork was Pamela Coleman Smith. It was one of the first tarot decks that had truly illustrated minor cards. All the way up until that point, the minor cards, like 2 of swords, there'd be 2 swords. 3 of cups, there'd be 3 cups. With the Rider-Waite brought like a fully illustrated deck and brought more depth and meaning to the tarot cards. And 70% of the decks are based on that system. They follow the same symbolism, the whole 9 yards. So, like the Anna Kay is a Rider-Waite deck. The Modern Medieval is a Rider-Waite deck. Shadowscapes Tarot is a Rider-Waite deck.
Gilded.
Huh?
The Gilded Tarot.
The Gilded Tarot. Most of Tiro Marchetti's stuff is Rider-Waite based-ish, loosely. The other 30%, well, actually, I'll take that back. 20% of the other 20% is based on Crowley's death, the Thoth Tarot, which came out in like 1969. The artist is Lady Frida Harris. It is the first deck that took the artwork to the next level. You went from something that was very traditional to something that was very Art Deco. The pictures were super duper Art Deco. For their time, it was unheard of to do something like that with a tarot deck. And that opened up we could put anything on a tarot deck. And that's exactly what people did. They put everything on a tarot deck. You have cats and Hello Kitty and
Lisa
baseball.
Lisa Frank.
Yeah, Lisa Frank. Yes, there is a Lisa Frank tarot deck. Yes. Yeah, tarot of buggy-eyed creatures. That's always a fun one. But it really opened up the artwork. 10% of tarot decks have no structure whatsoever. There's 78 cards, and they've got majors and minors. But they went off the reservation as far as the symbology and everything else.
Dreams of Gaia by Raven Phelan's a good example of that.
The fifth tarot.
Well, yeah, because that's 5
Fifth
suits.
tarot has 5 suits.
Plus
So-
the majors.
Yeah, plus the majors. So that one's kind of, yeah. So tarot is really out there. Anytime somebody comes to me and says, I'm looking for a deck, I'm looking to start reading tarot, I always say make sure that it is a Rider-Waite-based deck, because if you learn to read with a Rider-Waite-based deck, you can read 70% of the decks out there. Once you get comfortable reading with an Anna K, I love the Anna K a lot, and so I push that one. It's one of my things. But once you, or the, what's that Rider-Waite, the nicer one, not the one with kitchen colors.
Radiant?
Yeah,
Radiant
Radiant Rider-Waite. That one's tolerable. It doesn't have what I call kitchen colors. The first Rider-Waite has those really like 70s kitchen colors, the bright yellows and the strange greens, and it's really a hideous deck. Yeah, it's a hideous deck, but if you can stomach it and learn to read with it, you can read like 70% of what's out there.
So what's the other 10%?
The other 10% are non-traditional, non-standard decks. They're everything from like the fifth tarot that added a fifth tarot suit to Dreams of Gaia, which is just,
She just kind of really reinterpreted a lot of it.
yeah, it's not as cohesive as, not at all. They don't follow a lot of the traditional ascribed symbolism and meanings to the major arcana. They don't really follow the tarot transformation is another one that's not really a traditional tarot deck at all. Osho Zen is definitely, Osho Zen is an amazing deck. The Osho Zen tarot deck is amazing. It's fantastic. It is a very non-traditional tarot deck. It does not, it literally has a card where the meaning is nothing and the card's just like black. So it's a really super neat tarot deck, but it's very much,
Wrap up, my charge is going to die in 5 minutes.
it's very much a non-traditional deck. Tarot has 78 cards. They have 56 minors. They've got 22 majors, and pretty much every tarot deck sort of kind of sticks to that. Even Crowley versus Waite, they still stick to that basic structure. Non-standard tarot decks do not stick to that structure. They really border on oracle decks. They still kind of call themselves tarot decks. They still sort of kind of have a loose major minor arcana type thing. But other than that, again, like the Osho Zen, which is it's an amazing deck. Okay, well, this has pretty much become everything you ever want to know about divination, but was afraid to ask. I have some cards up here. If you want to stalk me on Facebook, the easiest way to stalk me is Urban Crone. You guys have been awesome, and Tori has been awesome.
I think it's the Urban Crone.
Is
isn't
it the Urban Crone?
I think it's the Urban Crone.
'Cause I remember
We'll put the link in the comments.
Yes, we'll do that. Thank you, Sylvia. And so this ends our lovely workshop. Thank you for attending. Hope to see you out here at the KFC Metaphysical Fair. We are on until 9 o'clock tonight.
8.
8 o'clock tonight. There's another spirit gallery tonight.
And tomorrow?
We will be here tomorrow from
11 to 6.
So come out. Your workshops are free with the price of admission. You cannot beat that with a big stick. And I hope to see you here.